What is up YouTube, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jarud. Today we're going to be working on my 1985 323i E30. Now, as you might have seen in the previous video, if you haven't, go check it out. I had a 318i 1985 and it was written off. So I'm taking the parts out of that car and we're going to put them on this car. And today we're going to be doing the suspension. So primarily we're going to be lowering it, which is pretty exciting. So stay tuned and let's get right into this. Starting off by taking off the wheels and yeah, we'll go from there.
All I do is adore you all of the time. I'd like to I'd like to
Okay, so now with the wheel off, we can see what we have to work with here. Now, this is just like the other E30 that I worked on. If you haven't seen that video, pretty much the exact same thing I'm gonna do here. So we're gonna take this whole strut assembly out with the spring and everything, get that out, but to do that, we have to release the two ball joints down here. Two knuckle joints or whatever they're called. Take the caliper off and all that, and then the whole assembly should just slide right out, which is perfect. But yeah, we'll jump into it and we'll get straight to it. So start off with this top one. So there's two guide pins here at the top and the bottom, and they are 13mm. Now inside here, so this is outside, it's 13mm. Inside here, you need a small spanner or vice grips or something to hold it in place. Because if you start to loosen it, once you break it, the inside will spin at the same time. So you're not actually loosening anything, you're just spinning on nothing. So, get something to hold it. It's probably best to do the bottom one first, because then you can hold it in place, do the reverse of what I just did. But either way, they'll come off. Sometimes you're lucky and they'll just come off like that. Bang. Two. It's always a good idea to have the caliper sitting on something as to not overextend the brake line. So I've just got this block of wood here. I'm just gonna pull the caliper off, put this down. And it's a good time to check my brakes as well. Still about half a pad left, which is pretty good. So I won't need to change them. And they look pretty even, which means they're uneven brake pad wear, which is good. So I'll put these aside and I'll reuse these, of course. But in the future, just keep mindful that, you know, in a year or so, they'll probably be replaced. So once you've got the wheel rotated, you can see I've got a jack under here supporting this ball joint to push it up, because it would just spin on itself if it's not supported. And then I've gone ahead and I've ratcheted this off to the point where it's loose. It's taken off by hand, but that's a 17mm nut. And yeah, just make sure you support it from the bottom, otherwise you'll just keep spinning it and eventually you probably just damage your own ball joint, and then you just lower it down and move your jack out of the way. And with any luck, this should just fall out, but knowing old E30s, knowing old BMWs, it won't. So grab some WD-40 and loosen it up. Let's get it in there, get it a good soak. While you're at it, soak the other side as well. Maybe come back in a couple of minutes once that penetrating fluid's really gotten in. You should be good. Well, whoops, I was just testing to see if the fork fit perfectly, which I know it did, but I ended up just getting this one off anyway. So all I did was just ram it in between and just give it a good hit on the side. But now this thing will rotate pretty freely. Do the same thing on the other side, but this one's a bit bigger. So it's essentially the same thing. Just put it in here and hit down, hope it works, and yeah. Try not to destroy the boot. Over the first one. Good man, Woody. Good man, coming in clutch. You're dropping money everywhere, you filthy. Oh my god. Anyway, ball joint separator, because the little fork thing didn't work, and that's annoying. So after many attempts with a hammer and this fork, we are resulting to a ball joint separator tool. Courtesy of Woody, courtesy of Super Cheap Auto, which is great. So,
not sponsored, by the
we're
way.
not sponsored, Lol. I wish.
Sponsor him now. Come on, Super
I
Chicken.
wish. So we're going to chuck that on, and we should be able to. What essentially we do is we put this bit in where the fork was going, and put that bit on top of the nut, and go from there. But we're going to have to twist the nut back on, and go from there. Don't know how much you can actually see, but like I said, I got that fork thing between where the fork was before, and now I'm just tightening the ball so it holds itself. And the top of the ball joint separator is sitting on top of the nut. What you essentially do is just keep twisting it with the spanner until she is loose. With a 22mm bolt, so start tightening it. Oh.
Will it come off?
Yeah, boy. All right, taking the 13mm bolts off the top now. But before I do that, I have to go back under. So I'm gonna get all the shit out of the way. I'm gonna go back under and support the, what's it called? So we're taking 13mm bolts off the top, nuts on the top. And the strut is being supported by the jack. And we're just getting all of these on. Now that all three of those are out, we can lower the jack and support the shock at the same time. Make sure you get any shit out of the way. And you should be able to pull it out. Voila! So now that we got both of them out, here's one and this is the other. Classic. Cool. Cool, so these are our full perch and everything. Now obviously these springs are obviously still under a lot of pressure. They're still, so we need to compress them. And the best way to do that is with a spring compressor. There are a couple of dodgy methods out there that I've tried before, like zip tying it a million times and then seeing if it'll come out, but that really doesn't work. The best way to do anything is with a spring compressor. So that's what we're gonna be doing. He says while breaking it. So once you've got this compressed, you grab I think it's a 19, and you take your little dust cap off. It stops a little dirt going into the top of your strut. 19 in there, and give it a good old thing out. There's probably still a bit of tension on there, so watch out. This doesn't want to come off, as the spring still might have, but in this case, we are all good. Take the perch off. This washer here is very important. Your thinger won't rotate without it, so don't lose it. And you can slide off your old crusty shit. Woo. Now look at the height of this one in comparison to our nice competitor's one that I pulled off the other E30. That's dramatic. And this has got a higher spring compression rate, so this should be a little bit more stronger and less like wonky, if that makes sense. So pretty much that's trash. God, that was loud. And this is what's going on. My back is quite sore, so apologies. Right, we've compressed the new spring. These are really, but they're just gonna get dirty again anyway, so I can't be bothered cleaning them. This one on. Make sure the perch sits correctly. But we won't know that until we put the new, or the old thing back on. Bang. Now I'm just gonna loosely put this one back in. Now I'm at 19. I'm gonna make sure this lines up nice and well. Obviously you want the perch to sit well when it's in the car. So just slowly let it out. Make sure this doesn't rotate. Don't let out one side more than the other. So that you get a nice. Our lowering spring is in for the better part. Woo! Woo! So installation is just the reverse of exhalation. But it's really handy to have a friend like Woody here so they can hold the bottom so you can tighten those top 3 nuts nice and tight. So yeah, we'll get into that and we'll show you what it looks like afterwards. And just like that, the front suspension is done. You can see that nice red spring in there. Now we're just about to chuck the wheels back on, tighten them all up, and then we'll move on to the rears. And then yeah, we'll see how low this thing is. Should be pretty nice. So as you can see, this is our rears. Don't worry about the breakaway sensor because that thing's broken anyway. But this is super simple. So it's 2 bolts up here inside the cabin, 1 big bolt down there. And this should all sag. I should release this sway bar end link at the back to give me a little bit extra downwards play. But yeah, we'll get on with it and we'll see how we go. Oh, that's loud. That's out. So now I can take this shock out, which actually isn't in bad condition. So we might actually leave the shock in because that's actually in pretty good condition. I've got another one, but that one's still a bit worn. This one's pretty good. I might just leave that in there. The previous owner did say he changed the shock, so I'll leave that. Bang! Skipped a bit ahead there, but spring compressors, get it off. Whether or not you take the spring perch off as well, it doesn't really matter. Spring perch. And yeah, looking pretty good. And we'll chuck the new ones in. So, this is the difference we're looking at. These are the stock ones. Everyone sees they look like a fucking monster truck. These are the new ones, plus the springs perch, so it'll be a tiny bit higher. But we should see a very dramatic drop. I know this setup has worked before because I had it on my other car, so it should be pretty good and it handles pretty nicely. So it's pretty nice. But without further ado, we'll go chuck it in and you can watch. So as you can see, this one goes in without even needing to compress it, which is great for installment, but that'll just show you how much it'll drop. So we're gonna use the other jack to get underneath, yeah, and get this up and in, otherwise we're just gonna be holding it in place.
One eternity later.
So without further ado, this is the end product. It is nice and low. This is the exact same setup I had on my 318i. Nice tucky in the back just because I got some fatter tires and the front's a little bit high. But over time it'll drip down and settle a bit and it should look nice and pretty. But yeah, all in all, an hour, or 2 hours work and yeah, a big difference to the car. Huge shout out to Woody, as always, for being a useful part of my team. And yeah, so without further ado, that's the video for today. If you like this one, be sure to like, comment and subscribe as per usual, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.